Welcome, everybody, to the Cone of Shame Veterinary Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Andy Roark. Guys, I got a really fun, interesting, different one for you today. I am here with Dr. Gail Hughes-Morey. She is the Vice President of the ASPCA Recovery and Rehabilitation Center, which is in Pawling, New York, and it is just opening up right now. This is a very specific center. It has a very specific focus around taking in pets that have been neglected and or abused in New York, and starting to work with these animals that are in a lot of trouble and are facing a lot of sort of hardships, and they have some conditions that would make them extremely hard to rehome. And so I heard about this, I read about it, and I was like, I'd like to learn more about how is this actually going to work, and what is this, how do you even set something like this up, and how do you keep everybody safe as you run this program? And so I got Gail in to come in and talk to me about what they're doing, and boy, she's delightful. She's just really a neat person, and I was really impressed. And we talk about sort of the thoughts to the environment that they're creating at the shelter. We talked about the medical components of what they're doing. We talked about the behavior components of what we're doing and staffing, how you staff a shelter sort of a program like this. And anyway, it's a really neat conversation. And, at the end, the center is going to open up. It opens up in end of September, October is what the plan is. And they're looking for some help. And so I think Gail says she's looking for veterinary professionals to support roles here and then also across the ASPCA. And so there's a lot of interesting ideas here and opportunities. I encourage people who are thinking about, I wonder what medicine could be in a different sphere than the one I've been in. I wonder what that would be like. This is a fantastic episode for you. So anyway, guys, I hope you'll really enjoy it. It's a neat one. Let's get into it.
This is your show. We're glad you're here. We want to help you in your veterinary career. Welcome to the Cone of Shame with Dr. Andy Roark.
Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Gail Hughes-Morey. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
I am excited to have you on. For those who don't know you, you are the Vice President of the ASPCA Recovery and Rehabilitation Center, ASPCA Recovery and Rehabilitation Center, Pawling, New York, which is a brand new, really special center that is still under construction. You guys are hoping to open up into September, 1st of October, right?
Yep, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. Okay. And so I wanted to have you on today because you're sort of leading this project that I think is really interesting. And it's not like anything that I've really seen before in terms of recovery and rehabilitation for pets that need to be rehomed or pets that are seeking adoption. And so let me just go ahead and turn it over to you right here. Gail, can you lay down the vision for the Recovery and Rehab Center?
Sure. So the ASPCA has been partnering with the NYPD for, I believe it's 9 years now. And in that time, they've had more than 5,000, going on 6,000 cases come through.
Okay.
Those animals coming out of cruelty and neglect cases have a lot of unique challenges. They are behaviorally often challenged, and they have not been able to live like dogs and cats in loving homes. They have medical challenges. They have a lot up against them, or they're up against a lot.
Yes.
So one of the things that came out of that is the need for a center that was going to address the specific needs of that population. So a place for them to get both behavioral and medical care in equal parts, where those things are equally important. One of the other pieces of that is making sure that the environment itself is built in a way that supports their behavioral health. So we took into account things such as, can they see each other through here? How many dogs will be in one run? We are specific to dogs here. We will not be housing cats.
Okay.
Part of the reason for that is the majority of the cases that come through the NYPD program are dog cases. We are disproportionately high in dog cases through that program.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit more about sort of like the environmental considerations here. So you've got these pets, they're coming from possibly abusive, neglectful circumstances, and you want to set this facility up in a way that's going to be supportive of him. Tell me more about what that looks like. To me, I'm imagining sort of a mixture of environmental enrichment And also safe handling sort of practices. How do you work with animals that are maybe fearful to the point of biting or that are going to react with aggression when they're approached, and we want to avoid backing them into corners and things like that. So talk to me about it seems like there's a lot there, and I'm just generally very interested in what are you prioritizing when you're looking at an environment like this?
It's a great question. And one of the things that we know is most of the animals that will come to us will be high arousal as a result of them having been neglected. So we spent a lot of time thinking about how to limit those triggers so that they were more controlled in their exposure to them. So that the animals that are here have a chance to adjust, to learn, to adapt to the normal everyday things that perhaps are hard for them to deal with right now. We also have 17 outdoor spaces for them. So we have tremendous yard space outside with pens that some you can see the dog on the other side, some you can't. So that as they come along in their behavior treatment and we see how they're doing, we can advance them through those steps and give them a little bit more access to see one another and to learn, again, how to be a regular dog. The kennels, indoor-outdoor kennels. Sorry, I'm not supposed to clap like that, right? But indoor-outdoor kennels, very exciting. So they will have access to the outside almost the whole day. We've got a guillotine door, and on the other side are saloon doors that open like this, that they can open themselves or can remain open for them. So choice, right? We know choice is really important in an animal that's recovering from that kind of situation.
Talk to me about capacity here, Gail. Like so these cases, they seem to me like they are going to require so much work and attention and time and devotion. And, I'm looking at it from a behavioral medicine standpoint and go, Gail, these are high effort, high time, cases to really work on. What is your expected capacity in a year, for example? What do you think that you're going to see as far as dog numbers?
That's a tough one to answer because they're here for the duration of their court case. So some of how long they're here is out of our hands.
Right.
And that was the average being 70 days or so for a court case to work its way through. And that's average. So how many come through in a year will depend very much on how long those court cases take to be resolved or for the animal to be signed over. I do know that we get about 300 to 400 dogs that end up coming through the whole process. So quite a few through this process.
So what do you think the process is going to look like for your average dog? So they come in. Is that sort of what the exit plan kind of looks like? As we come in, we have the number of days for the court case to sort of work itself through the process to kind of work with this pet. And then when that hold comes off, then they'll be sort of reintroduced, or they'll go back to where they were potentially, or they'll go into the regular sort of shelter system. What does done look like for the center?
Done is all of the things that you just said. It can be all of the things that you just said. So they come in and they stay with us. And once they're released from that court case, they may be ready at that point to move on to an adoptive home. They may be not quite there yet, but we know they've made progress on their different issues that they've come in with. So they may get additional treatment before they're able to move on and become available. Unfortunately, some will be euthanized because they're coming out of these situations with horrible consequences.
Yes. And
sometimes those can't be overcome. So that is a possibility. And then a small number do go back to the owners with a head start, right? So the court has determined this was not criminal or this is something that can be addressed. These animals are coming back from us medically sound, behaviorally further along than they were. So both the owner and the animal get a fresh chance to build that relationship in a healthy way.
Talk to me about what this sort of the therapeutic part of this process looks like. So let's go back to our example dog who has come in, and maybe we've got a high arousal dog, or we have a fearful dog and things. What is this dog's day going to be like?
This dog's day will be varied, and that is part of the key. It will have a variety of different enrichment activities. It will have different behavioral treatment activities. So a dog, say it's been here for about a week and it's settled in, that dog can expect to have morning enrichment that will be different from day to day. It can expect that it will have things like, I want to say aromatherapy, but scent enrichment that they will be able to do. They will have different toys. They will have different activities. They will have walks. There is a big variety that will happen throughout the day for them. And then there's the treatment aspect where we have a team of behavior experts who will work with them in targeted ways through our treatment protocols to address those issues so that they can have a chance at being adopted and being successful in that home ultimately. So they have a variety of tools at their disposal that are just fascinating to watch. I watched fake human children in the hall today that they use as part of the training process. A little startling for me, but
Yeah, I was going to say terrifying. It sounds terrifying. Fake human
was.
children for training.
Especially because we didn't have dogs here yet, so I really wasn't expecting it. But
wow.
Those are fantastic devices to help the dogs, to see how the dogs will react and to help them through some of those reactions. We also have medical that is really great here. We have a fantastic medical suite with x-ray, dental x-ray. We can do dental surgery here, which for shelter populations is huge. Being able to get them out with dental surgery completed is a very, very big deal for us. So great facility in that sense too.
Tell me more about these training experts. Where do they come from? Like, what is it? What's involved in becoming sort of a training expert? It's it seems like a position that you would want to have the right people for, and it seems like they like that getting them a high level of training for the task is going to be absolutely required. So, what's the process for moving people into those roles?
We have a training program here that is the Shelter Behavior Apprenticeship.
Okay.
We actually have a several weeks long program where people who are credentialed in various ways, there are so many behavior credentials out there. So these are the credentialed individuals who have been through the training, who have tons of experience under their belt. They run a program where these individuals go to different shelters with them and learn why animals behave the way they do. They look at the science of animal behavior together, and then they do. So they go from the learn to the do in this, and they go, and with coaching, they're practicing the handling, they're practicing all of the different protocols that we have for modifying behavior. That's where they start here. They start with that baseline for behavior associates, and then over time, they move up to be specialists and can move up even further as time goes by here. But we have a really substantial training program for the behavior team here.
That's fantastic. Tell me more about the medical suite. So first of all, start with sort of the justification for a medical suite like this at this facility. Like, it's clearly something you put thought into, and it was something that you guys said this was going to be an emphasis for this facility. Give me your vision for the medicine component of what's happening at the center.
There are two pieces. We have owned animals, and that means we have to make sure that everything we do is very high quality medicine for that sake. But then we're also an organization that very much believes in making sure that we have done the best that we can medically for these animals. So it is still shelter. It is shelter medicine. So it's a little bit different. But we still want to ensure that they have access to the things that will make them comfortable from day to day, that will help them succeed. An unhappy, uncomfortable, or ill animal is also more behaviorally risky, right? As a greater risk to the people around. And so we've really hired veterinary staff that get the shelter piece of this, that really understand how to work with the behavior team, and that understand, there's a piece of it where it's very different from, the struggles are the same but different. And in GP, you're often struggling with like the owner and the resources and being up against that sort of a situation, where here it will be something along the lines of what resources can we balance when we have to consider the population.
Yeah.
So the shift of what you're focusing on varies. And so a lot of what will go through there is population health considerations too.
Talk to me a bit about how this center fits into the larger ASPCA picture. Like, you guys have so many facilities, you have so many initiatives, you have so many things going on. I can't imagine that this facility is going to stand totally alone and separate from the other initiatives that you have. How does it sort of integrate into the larger picture of what's going on?
So where this facility sits in the branch called Rehabilitation Services.
Okay.
And we do have sister shelters that do similar work. So you may have heard of the Behavioral Rehabilitation Center in Asheville, or near Asheville. It's in Weaverville. They do work specifically with fearful dogs. So they are expert in bringing those dogs out of their shells. They have shells. They have a tremendous success rate there. We also have the CRC that responds to the national level cases. So we are part of a larger, more unified effort than it sounds like when we just talk about this facility, is there are a number of us that are responding to that work. And we tie back to the New York facilities where NYPD is bringing those dogs initially for their forensic evaluations. It's truly part of a big machine of different pieces that relate to rehabilitation of these animals that come out of cruelty.
It's amazing what you guys are putting together. Let me ask you this, Gail. When you look at this, obviously you have so many sort of objectives and just the center does sort of so many things. What is the most important thing to you in all of this?
That's a great question. Because of my specific role, the most important thing to me is that the people who work here are supported and have the tools that they need to do the very many varied jobs that they have to do. We do have a lot of different goals. We haven't even broached research as one of the things that will happen here. So there's a lot going on. And the most important thing to me is that no matter what the team member is assigned, that they feel supported by the organization, and that comes through me. So I don't have a favorite in terms of the medical or the behavior or the research is the most important. The people are the things that are most important.
That makes sense. What are you most afraid of here? What is your greatest concern as you're looking ahead? The clinic the center hasn't opened yet. You're a couple of months out as we're sort of recording this. What keeps you up at night when you think about the project as a whole?
Project as a whole. It's the cultural piece for me. It's making sure that every step of the way, I have an eye on, is everything balanced? Are the teams coming to the table equally? Are their voices all being heard? The thing that keeps me up at night is the idea of having a shelter where the human beings are adding to the stress of an already stressful job.
Oh, wow.
So I think I'm possibly a little different in that sense, that my focus is truly the people on every level of this, because if the people are happy and healthy and not causing more stress for one another, the job is easier and the animals benefit.
Oh, I think that's such a healthy way to look at it. That's sort of my philosophy in veterinary medicine is you have to get the human, if you get the human part right, everything about the care and treatment of animals is so much easier. And it's also sustainable, you know what I mean? Like every case gets harder if your people are not getting along, if you have sort of cultural conflict.
They already want to help the animals, right? They already have that piece. So just don't do things that get in the way of that.
Exactly right. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, there's a certain kind of person who wants to come and tapping into that motivation and stopping us from stepping on each other's feet. It's so important. Dr. Gail Hughes-Morey, you are so wonderful. Tell me about, you're looking for some help with the center. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we are. We're hiring for a variety of roles, always looking for great, talented veterinary staff. We have veterinary positions open, full and part-time. We have a senior director role for a veterinarian here at this center. We also have openings for behavior associates who want to come in at that level and learn all of the ins and outs of the behavior team. And across the organization, we have a lot of open roles for folks that are usually in your audience, the veterinarians, the LBTs, veterinary assistants. We have many roles that we would love to have really dedicated, talented people who would listen to a podcast like this.
That's fantastic. Where do people get more information? Where can they see sort of what's available and sort of what you're looking for?
Everything that we have open is on careers.aspca.org. Quite a nice list of openings right now and some really talented teams. I was looking at it right before this to see where else there were roles, and definitely check it out. There's a ton of interesting stuff on there right now.
Well, there's so many people who at some point in their career just decide that they want to change. And Gail, I talk to people all the time who say, I've done this or I've done that, and I'm kind of tired of it, or the situation at the clinic has changed and I'm looking for something different. And I just think this is such a great opportunity for people to look at other things that they can do with their veterinary training and degrees. And I think it's great. I wish you all the success in the world. I think this is fantastic. I was inspired when I started reading about the center and kind of what you're doing. And it's such a neat program. And it made me feel good about the world just to know that this is happening and you guys are working on it. So I will link up the website in the show notes. Where can people find you? Where can they keep up with what you're doing? You're going to continue to champion and advocate for the program. How can people sort of see what you're up to?
So we do also have a polling-specific subpage on the ASPCA's main website. I'm on LinkedIn, but that is my only social media contact right now. And I am happy to keep people apprised there.
Outstanding. That sounds great. I will link all that stuff up so people can track it down. Gail, thanks so much for being here. Guys, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Take care of yourselves, gang. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, all.
And that's what I got. Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks to Gail and the ASPCA for making time just to talk through all this stuff. I feel good after talking with her. I am a perpetual optimist, but it feels good to see people trying to do good in the world and trying new things and see organizations investing into caring for pets, and especially pets that got dealt a really bad hand in life. I don't know. I feel better knowing that Gail and the ASPCA are out, working and trying to help those pets. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for today. I hope you're doing well. Take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you later.